Hey, Peter.
Yep.
Today we're going to be talking about one of the most sophisticated, intelligent, complex, deeply spiritual harmonic concepts available to us as modern musicians.
Wow. What chord is this?
I'm Adam Manis.
A little reprise there. I like it. I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear It podcast.
Music advice and cattle coming at. Is that a cattle call?
It is
by any chance?
It is a cow sound effect. This is, by the way, this is an open studio podcast, in case you didn't know. So, yeah. But we are going to be talking to...
Sponsored by the Missouri Farm Board.
Missouri
Farm Association.
Dude, I wish we had that Missouri Farm Board money.
Oh, come on now.
Come on now. No, today we're going to be talking about a couple of different things, but I wanted to talk about the power of the moo chord.
Well, this is very interesting, very topical, and something I don't really understand. So this is going to be what they call an explainer video or explainer podcast.
So first of all, do you know anything about the moo chord?
No, I don't know about I know it's... Is that a moo chord?
It's a moo major.
I know how to play it.
Yeah.
Is that still with the third too?
Still with the third. Yeah,
I usually do it without the third.
Yeah.
The third on the bottom. But.
So moo, and we're spelling moo not as a cow, but as M-U. And it actually, the term itself, the legend has it was coined by...
Are you reading from Wikipedia right now?
No, not at all. Oh. Steely Dan's Donald Fagen and Walter Becker. And it talks about a very specific kind of shape. And it's a beautiful shape that gets used in all kinds of music. And we've been doing some short videos, short content pieces about we've been doing moo adjacent things. So I thought we would go full moo
adjacent
to start here. But I just want to talk about what the moo major is first. So it's actually a really simple concept. It is, I wonder if we could actually, we're gonna do a little bit of
he's calling an audible. He's creating an audible.
On the fly. Oh no, we can't.
Oh, well, why are you doing that? I've got something.
Yeah.
You know, I've been very up on my Chat GPT.
Oh God, here we go again.
I just asked Chat GPT, what is a moo chord? I spelled it M-U.
Oh, did it know?
It says, I'm sorry, but there is no such thing as a moo chord in music theory or practice. It's possible that you may have misspelled the term, or it could be a term used in a specific context or genre I'm not familiar with. If you provide me with more context or information, I may be able to... Ooh, it's trying to get me to teach it.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Did I spell it right, though?
I think so.
M-U chord? I'm just going to try to tell it something. Let me know when you're ready with your thing. A moo chord is a specific sound pioneered, would we say? Pioneered.
I think that's fair.
By Steely Dan.
Caleb, I wonder...
Oh, wait, okay, check this. Sorry. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I apologize for my earlier response. You are correct that the term moo chord is associated with the music
of
Steely Dan.
Chat GPT.
A jazz-influenced rock band. The moo chord is a musical chord that was created and popularized by Donald Fagen and Walter Becker of Steely Dan. It is essentially a polychord or superimposition of two chords, a minor triad on top of a major triad. Is that right? Separated by an interval of a tritone.
No, that is not right.
The resulting chord is dissonant and ambiguous with no clear tonal sound. No, a moo chord is very consonant, right? The exact construction of a moo chord can vary, but a common example is the combination of a B-flat minor triad, B-flat, D-flat, F, and a D major triad.
No, that's not correct.
Resulting in
okay, stop the ChatGPT.
Oh no, he says exactly to play it like this.
Excellent.
That's like not a moo chord. The moo chord is used extensively in Steely Dan's music, particularly on their later albums, and has since become associated with their unique sound.
That is not what a moo chord is.
Has Steely Dan ever played this chord?
Can you put my screen up on here? And then,
yeah.
Oh, look, Caleb's already got it kind of starting to get masked there. So we got a little keyboard. You can mask it a little more, Caleb, if you have the time. But look at this. And maybe make it bigger, Caleb, so that folks can see there. So if you're listening to this show, we are putting a little keyboard up here on the YouTube. So you can go to our You'll Hear It YouTube channel. You might want to subscribe, but we'll display what we're playing on here. So the basic moo chord is definitely not what ChatGPT just said. So do not take that to heart. But what it is in its very basic level is this. So it is, we'll say a C sus2 over E, right? And so you can get here by doing a very simple exercise. Go to middle C, play the root, the second, the major third, and the perfect fifth from C. Right? And we're gonna do a drop 2 here to start to get the basics.
Stevie Wonder.
we got what is it? What was your nickname before? Noodles, Poodles.
That was Stevie Wonder. What's the name of that song, though? Leave in the comments if you know that Stevie Wonder song.
Anyway, so we have C, D, E, and G, and then we're gonna do this drop 2. So we're gonna take the E down.
I call that a 1, 2, 3, 5 chord.
Yeah, that's
that
a 1, 2, 3, 5. It's a C add 2, or C add 9. I think is technically what it is. C add 9.
Is it a C2 chord though? Because I see that sometimes C2.
No, this is C2. So it's C add 9 because there's a third in here. So a 2 would be a suspended second, and this is I think technically C add 9. But if we take if we drop 2, right, the second note from the top, the E, and we take it and we put it in the left hand, that is a mu chord. That is what we officially call a mu major. So we can now use this. Now the mu chord the mu major, it always has the third in the bass, and that's how we use it. So it's never an inversion where you would take this through other things like that. It's not just a C add 9 that you do in different inversions like this. That's not what it is. It's specifically with the E in the bass. Now, you can do inversions on the top 3 notes here in your right hand. So this, you can do the next inversion up, and that sounds really good. And you could even do this inversion up here if you wanted to. Yeah, you might as well, right? But these two, check it out. These 2 inversions are what you see the most.
Yeah.
Right? So in the right hand, C, D, G, or D, G, C, and then always the third in the bass. Now, you've probably heard it on stuff like Deacon Blues. It's a lot of yeah, but so it gets used in that way. Steely Dan uses it in a bunch of different ways, but you can use it in a bunch of different ways. It's most effective, I think, as an approach note. Now, here's the cool thing, Peter.
Yes.
But wait, there's more. So we'll still be in the key of C here. So the one way you can work on it is just taking it.
Move commercial.
It's a move commercial. We talked about this the last episode. Take all diatonic 7th chords here on drop 2.
Yep.
Approach each one with the move from below. Right? It's a beautiful approach chord from below.
Yeah.
Now you can also check this out. You can approach it as you're descending as well. So we're still approaching from below, but we're sort of jumping. Right? Getting all these.
Yeah.
Now check it out. You can also, here's what you might not know. You can approach each one of these chords from the mu above, and it sounds killing.
From mu above.
How about that?
That's
It's so beautiful, and you can use all the different inversions too if you like to do this. They all sound pretty sick. This is all the mu, the second inversion here. But it gets you this really cool, it doesn't have a 7th in it. It's got this really sharp thing. And this is consistent too with some classical music theory rules, some classical harmony rules, where if the third is in the bass, you don't put the third in the chord above. So you want to have these 3 voices above, right?
Yeah.
You want like maybe an A major triad over C sharp. And someone like Bach or Beethoven might put this here, right? So C sharp, and you want this A. You wouldn't put another C sharp in there. You would put A, E, A.
Yeah.
Or maybe a 7th chord, right?
Yeah.
But the mu, instead of doubling a note at all, you just add that 9.
Yeah. Back in the Baroque period, that would have got you thrown into a Gothic prison for doing that.
It would have been like,
oh my God, internal damnation.
oh my gosh.
You'd be in a German prison. All right, can I show you something?
Yeah,
quick?
please.
That was nice.
Please.
You familiar with?
Hold on. Before
sorry.
before you do you show anything, I just want to reiterate.
What's going on? Really? That's what you could.
That's a good sound. Come
Look
on.
how excited he
I
is.
know. It sounds good.
Check this out. This is, if you want to hear what Adam just taught you, but in just 60 seconds.
I'm wearing the same outfit.
Wait, where's the? I can't hear me. Oh, got to do that.
Now we have the secondary dominant for each one. Oh yeah, this is the short we talked about last episode.
But the moo makes its appearance here.
Except the seventh. The seventh kind of sucks. Now we put that secondary dominant with the third in the bass.
Not yet. The next one, I guess, right?
If we want a little bit more of a modern sound, we do the moo chord. Now just take it through all 12 keys, and you're good to go. Peace.
Oh, we just
Super
make it
fun.
sound so easy there, buddy,
Super
don't
fun.
we?
Super fun. Diatonic seventh chord.
Okay.
Stop it, Peter. Stop it.
Help! TikTok, stop it! No, that's on the open. Go check out the Open Studio Instagram for a lot of this fun stuff.
Yeah,
right?
we're doing more of that short content, these little
Yeah.
warm-ups and stuff.
That was good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that move. Hey, so it's interesting because it's being talked about. I don't know. You know, like when you become aware of the nomenclature of something.
Yeah.
But you've heard the sound a long time, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's what that's called.
I think because it's such a funny sounding name, it's really in the internet era. I never heard of it before YouTube was around.
Yeah.
And then
I thought the first time you talked about it, you invented it, but I missed that.
No. It sounds like something I might make up just
good.
because it's fun to say. But yeah, apparently it's the Steely Dan thing. I don't even know how accurate that is. They might not even know what the hell we're talking about, but it's just that's the lore of
I
it.
heard them talking about sugar chords, so there's that, Well, good stuff. Okay, I got something for you. This is kind of random, and I can't remember why I thought
Oh,
about
rando. Get on your mic there.
I'm getting rando on my mic there. This is sort of about gigging because we get a lot of questions kind of offline and here and there, and something I was thinking about is like, how do you we're always talking about the moo chord and how to play, and this is all important stuff, but the actualization of putting these skills together oftentimes leads to a gig, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, especially younger folks, people just wanting to get into the biz, kind of struggle with like, how do I say yes to this gig? Should I do this gig? I get a lot of questions over the years. Probably one of the most common ones is just like, how do I get away from doing gigs I don't want to do? Wedding gigs. What do we used to call them? Like casuals, and
oh wow,
different people call them
taking it
different
all
things.
the way back.
Yeah. But it's like, how do you make a decision
casuals
to take a gig or not? And this is something we struggle with, both you and I. We've even come together at different times to try to remember the
not anymore, man.
The Just Say No Club.
The Just Say No Club.
Yeah, we said no to that
pre-pandemic. Yeah, then the pandemic said no to everything for a while. Yeah.
And so, but it is an important thing of like, because the whole concept of when you're saying no to something, what are you saying yes to? Mm-hmm. But then what are we always talking about? Sets and reps. So as much as in terms of like practicing, learning to play, you got to put that into practice. And there's nothing like trial by fire on a gig, but is it the right gig? But I'm always amazed, and it's a recurring thing, and it's like an intergenerational thing of how much people struggle with. And I would think back to it, and I was like, I did too, and I continue to in some ways, but definitely to when you get to that point of saying like, can I say no to this gig? What are people going to think of me if I say no? Do they think I'm above this? Am I just doing the gig for the money? We're supposed to love music, so I can't charge this amount. I can't even be thinking about money because it's all about the art.
Yeah.
But like, how do you think about if somebody calls you for a gig, how do you make a decision whether or not you're going to take the gig or not?
Yeah, so interesting. So money is a factor, but not in the way that you might think. So it's all I was telling you, I was listening to this Yale podcast on game theory.
Yeah.
And so it is all a bit of a strategic decision about how you want to spend your time and where your efforts and time and resources are going. And so I weigh, I don't actually mind playing for nothing if it's the right circumstances. I don't like to do that, but I will if I want to be a part of something and it's for a good cause or something, of course I'll do it, especially if it's my own thing. Like if it's something that I see potential to grow, to be something that is very fulfilling for me musically or financially or whatever, I am not one of these people that is like, you're a professional and so you should be paid what you're worth. Like, yeah, when you're starting something somewhere from the ground up, whether that's a business or you're starting a concert series, I feel like you can, invest in yourself and try to build it up and try to get people there. It's almost like, you get people there once for free, and then you start, hey, you
get 'em hooked.
now you got to get them hooked, and then you start charging. But it's a similar concept.
Let them in
Now,
for free, charge them to get out.
Yeah, no, that's not saying like I'm going to play for some established series and be like, no, I'll do it for free. Never. I would never do that. But if it's my own thing and I'm starting, like, I'm starting this orchestra. I'm starting my own string orchestra where we're going to be doing all of these amazing songs. We're really celebrating the songs. We have our first show's coming up in April. I'm doing all the arranging. We're raising money because the orchestra is expensive, obviously, to start. And like, I'm going to be the last person to get paid on this, and that's because it's my project. Like, I'm responsible for getting this across the finish
The captain
line.
of the ship is the last one to go down.
That's right. Well, that's true though.
Yeah.
But like, I'm doing this, and I'm doing all this work for free for now because I believe in it.
You're playing the long game.
I'm playing the long game. I know that eventually it's going to, pay off. Most importantly, musically, spiritually, it's going to fulfill me in that regard. But then also I know that it's going to be lucrative eventually.
Right.
Once I start getting butts in the seats. However, if it's, I anymore, since Open Studio has sort of taken over a lot of my time in the day and a lot of my energy, a lot of like my creative energy, which has like been incredibly fulfilling. And it's what I really love doing during the day is coming up with these different ways to talk about all this stuff and then hanging out with our community. Like, I now have the luxury, thanks to Open Studio, of saying no to pretty much anything I don't want to do. And in fact, I have to say no to things that I do want to do, and that gets really hard because it can be a challenge. I will say I still have, Peter, what I call an FU price.
Yeah.
Which I can't believe I just said that.
FU
here.
price. I like it.
It's an FU price, which
What
is
is
like,
that price?
That's the price where I don't really want to do.
No, I mean, what is the exact price?
I'm not, I don't want to reveal too many secrets here, but it's a lot. And I do not want to do this gig. And I will say, oh yeah, I'm happy to do it.
Seven figures?
It's a lot. It's not 7 figures, but it's more than they should pay. But it's like, here, I really don't want to do it. But, and I'll be honest, like, I'm busy. I don't have time. This isn't really my thing, but I'll do it for this amount of money because that's the amount of money that, for me, it's like, okay, well, I should probably.
Do you normally tell people that then, all that accompanying it?
No,
I'm
I don't
busy,
tell them,
I'm doing, or is that just represented by the number?
I'll give them a high price because it's something I don't want to do. And so, but I will do it for this amount. I forget who recommended me the FU price. Someone a long time ago. It might have been you. Oh. Yeah, it might have been you. It was just like, listen, if you don't want to do something, just basic economics, like put it in a price range where it is worth it for you to do, even if it's a drag, and then let them know that this is the price it's going to cost. And if they do it, then you're committed. Then, you can do it.
Then what about when those same people see you playing somewhere else that night instead, and they know that it's a different price?
I'm not trying to like hide the fact that there's things, I mean,
do you actually put FU in the email as you give them the price?
No, I don't.
Sincerely?
FU.
And FU, Adam Menace.
FU sounds so aggressive, but it's not meant to be. It's not meant to be that aggressive. But, no, you know what? I'm not shy about the fact too that I will tell people straight up like, hey, I'm not doing anything except for my own thing right now because I need to focus my energy on making my own music. Yeah. So like, I'm not taking this arranging gig right now, and it's not because I don't want to do it, and it's not because you're not great, but it's because I want to focus on, even if I don't have a project, I'll be like, I'm kind of focusing on my own thing, so I'm not really working with anybody else right now. There's nothing wrong with that. And if someone would say that to me, I'd be like, oh, totally cool. Yeah.
Right. No, I think that's great. And I think that where maybe the confusion for folks that are not at the point that you're at and other folks, be it in terms of age, experience, opportunities, or whatever, is like, what do you do as you're building up? And I want to be clear about that for folks. Like, you can't start here.
No.
What you just described.
No, it takes a while to get there.
Because it's like, there's so many gigs, and I think back, like some of my fondest memories are gigs that like sometimes the biggest gigs you do, you don't get paid anything for certain reasons, which is fine.
Yeah.
But some of the like lowest paying gigs of all time were some of my fondest memories because I was in that growth period where I got so much more out of playing the gigs, either playing with certain people or playing in a certain venue or just the demands of the gig, having to learn certain music or whatever. It was not about the money I was going to get. But I also didn't have that much to offer yet because I wasn't that experienced. I wasn't very good.
Yeah.
I was still like learning. So you have to kind of know where you are because you're getting so much from experience up to a point.
That's
I
right.
think. And then it gets to the point where like certain kind of experiences, like, nah, I'm good. I've already had those experiences.
No, especially when you're younger, the experience of doing a gig can be worth quite a bit.
Yeah.
To you, because also it's like you said before, it's the long game. You're investing in yourself
Yeah.
and this experience that's going to make you better. And even still, Peter, if Herbie Hancock called you and said, "I want to do a 5-city tour with just 2 pianos, me and you," it pays $150 a night. You're doing it.
Dude, if Herbie Hancock calls and says,
You
I'm
gotta
doing
pay.
5 cities and I'd like you to be my valet for those, I'd be like, yes.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, of course.
For the experience, we all do things like this, and there's
Right.
nothing wrong with that. Now, there's also nothing wrong with asking what you think you should worth and setting up your life, to make sure that you hit those numbers. Like, if you can't afford your rent, then you obviously are going to need to do more paying gigs or figure out something
Right.
else to do.
But you also got to play the long game in terms of like, you're going to have to do $100 gigs, $50
Totally. Yeah, well,
gigs.
everybody does.
To get that experience.
Unfortunately.
And you got to pay your rent. So you might have to get another job. Because I get a lot of this, like, I always hearing like, well, I only want to, play stuff that's going to be great and all this, but not from folks like you. I'm talking about from folks that are like just getting into the jazz performance game. And I'm like, I'm like, it's a long journey.
Yeah.
And you can't start there. Yes, you have to know your worth. And these are like really, really great young players.
Yeah.
But it's also like you haven't done nothing yet. You got to work your way up. And I think that, usually younger folks do understand that, but sometimes they get tripped up on this like, well, I don't know if my art's going to be presented in the right way at this thing. And I'm like, don't worry about that. You'll get to that later.
Yeah.
I've seen, Herbie Hancock being presented not in the perfect way, and he still somehow does a great performance. I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs and a lot of things outside of our control. And I think that you have to sort of be on that continuum of just being glad to play, like worrying about what the instrument is and all this kind of stuff. Like, don't get ahead of yourself is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I agree. It kind of bugs me too when I'll see musicians who are still learning, who are still young and still trying to figure out how to play music.
Yeah.
And they're playing at smaller venues, and then they're complaining on social media about, this is $100 gig. We should be worth more than this or whatever. It's like, you're not bringing anything to this.
Right.
Like and I'm not saying you shouldn't, your time's not valuable or worth anything.
Yeah.
But also you have to, if it's a smaller venue, the owner's probably losing money on you if you're not bringing people in. And so you have to account for that a little bit. And if you focus on like, what can we do to actually make music that people want to come out and see?
Yeah.
What can I do to get those people to know that we're doing this? Yeah. Then you can build a crowd, and then you have leverage, which is so incredible. Once you start realizing how to build capital with your art and how to leverage that to actually make money, the sky's the limit, because you can, repeat that formula again and again and keep growing that. But you got to learn how to do that.
Yeah, and we're finally living in a time where we actually have some tools available to us, things that we complain about for a lot of different reasons, but in terms of like social media, YouTube, these things where we can potentially directly access and build an audience without the other gatekeepers there.
Yeah.
That, there's a little bit less to complain about. I do hear a lot of like grumblings, just like, well, why do we have to promote ourselves and why do we have to do that? And I get that. It's like in an ideal world.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But the scene is starting to really reward those that do that. But I would just say that like you can innovate in how you access an audience or build up an audience however you want. You don't have to do it on the tools that they're saying. Create your own tools or make a flyer.
Whatever.
Like we used to do.
Actually, it doesn't have to be complicated.
It doesn't, yeah.
You know what you have to do? You have to spend time in the shed. That gets people in the seats.
That's where most of the people that are complaining about it can't play. But then there are some that do complain about it that can play. And I'm always like, well, how do we set up a system in which, great music can still reach great audiences that want to hear that? Because that's almost like it's like an import-export business. It's like, what are you going to bring in? If it's already being made here, but if you're bringing in something special from another country that can only be made there, and then you can find people that want it, that's a beautiful thing. You're matching that up.
But is it a system where people aren't getting the music that they would like? Because I feel like you can get whatever you want, and you can really, go down rabbit holes.
Oh, no, you can, but I'm saying but there are great players, I feel like, that do get kind of passed over.
Give me names.
Well, no, I don't want to. No, I mean, there's great players that are not as savvy as an Adam Maness.
That's true.
YouTube star.
Well, no, I know about that, but there are great players who I don't think
they're just not as interested.
They don't want to engage in that, and that's actually fine. Like you don't have to.
And I think that there should always be, and there is, gratefully, an infrastructure in terms of presenters and clubs and concert halls and these kinds of things. Traditionally, there's been, unfortunately, a lot of taking advantage of the powers that be with that system. So hopefully we are getting more away from, because there is competition from social media and all this online stuff for musicians to go directly there. But I think that great players, Ron Carter, who we just interviewed a couple weeks ago again, and we're able to make a course with and kind of see how he operates, is very savvy for an 85-year-old gentleman to be able to leverage social media in the way that he does. Not everyone's going to be able to do that. Especially as you get older or have that kind of interest to do that, to maintain that connection. And I think these incredible players should still have access to these kinds of things through other ways, more traditional ways.
I don't
know what the hell I'm talking about.
It's pretty simple, actually. No. It's pretty simple. If you want to
FYI.
For getting gigs, if you want to get paid, work on becoming the best possible musician you can be. Work on coming up with a great idea.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about you being able to blow over giant steps.
Right. You got to be able to play or do a podcast over heavy construction. What the hell's going on here?
No, you have to have yeah, exactly. You have to have a build. I'm going to link it. You have to build an interesting idea and then just record a video of you doing that.
Yeah.
And that's as good of, if you build your reputation from the art you're making, people are going to come and see you. Right. All they have to know is where you're going to be.
Yeah. If you're going to be getting better as you do that, because that's sets and reps, that's performing, that's putting yourself out there. And it's not that different from I want to book a tour so that I can really learn how to interact with audiences. Well, that's great. Do that. But that's not going to come as quick as put a video out of your solo, of you playing a solo over something that you're working on. But really try to put something beautiful into the world and see how people respond to that.
Yeah.
You can do that today.
And there's the great thing about gigs too is it's direct feedback, right? If nobody's coming to your gig, then you're not connecting with somewhere in the chain, from the music to the people that are hearing it, or from the communication about the gig is happening.
Yeah.
So there's some breakage.
That looks like a gigging musician right there.
It does look like a gigging musician. No, there's some breakage in that link. Either you're not making music that's connecting with people, or you're not connecting with people, letting them know where your music is.
But don't get that twisted, because some people, as in don't you listeners, if you have 20 people at your gig, don't be oh, I'm not, and the club holds 100 people. Don't be oh, I'm not connecting with something. No. And if those 20 people there enjoying it, keep reinvesting into that. They'll tell their friend. They'll tell their friends. You know what I mean? You have to be patient with that. Be appreciative of whatever audience you have. Don't always be looking at the next backyard, the next concert hall.
No, I'm not suggesting you change anything. But you should know that that's there's correlation between what has happened up to that point and what the result is.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying you should change what you play. You should just know that the kind of music you're playing is connecting with 20 people, and that's fine. Or that combination of what you're playing and how you're getting it out there is only connecting with 20 people. There's
just the way you are.
That might be exactly what you want to do if that's the music that you love and that you're passionate about. But you got to accept that that's the results. If you don't change anything, nothing's going to change, which is fine if that's what you want. Yeah, I think a big part of this too, Peter, is you got to be, as we both know, you got to be malleable in your life and be okay with fat times and lean times.
That's right.
That's part of being a musician, man.
That's right.
It's part of it.
That's right. Play the long game.
Yeah.
And then you'll have some stuff from your hibernation period saved up for oh no, you need to save up for the hibernation period. Well, whatever. You'll hear it. Is that part of this episode?
I'm in Steamboat Springs, Colorado currently. I'm in Indianapolis.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Andrew, hi.
Because I feel inspired to play something else from your playing.
Okay, that's great. I think using the metronome is a great tool, but it's not the only tool.
All of the answers are really in the music.
What does it mean to live in a groove, be in a groove?
Until next time, happy practicing.